Alright, Lee with untapped potential. Let's try another one. So, we're in a league, which you play 5 matches, just as many wins as you can get out of 5. And we lost our first one, 1-2, against a solid red deck wins, or I guess it was more of a red heroic strategy, actually, and it worked really well. So, let's try it again. We are running Abzan Enchantments, which is much more of a mid-range sort of deck, and while we are very good post-sideboard, or at least post-sideboard have a pretty good anti-aggro plan, it does rely on us to draw some certain things and just manage to get some sort of field presence, which unfortunately in that last game we just never quite got. Our one creature we played got immediately destroyed, which was a huge tempo hit to us that we never recovered from. But enough about the past. Let's move on to the present, yeah? And hopefully find an opponent here very soon. So I guess stage 1 means people who currently have 0 wins, and there appear to be plenty in our category right now, from what I can see in the background, so hopefully we'll get to it very soon. And like I said last time, in the event that we don't, I will just cut the recording here in just a second and turn it back on when we get started. Yes, we would like to play first. Yeah. This hand will play. So we got 3 lands, we have a 2-drop, a 3-drop, we got Doomwake and a Crucifix's Insight, we have all our colors. It looks great. Let's rock and roll it. I wish we had 1 untapped land so we could actually start playing on turn 2. And maybe we'll draw 1 next turn, that would be great. But as is, we can still play. What's our opponent got? He's got a stops on both up. Oh, for God's sake, not again. Yep, here's another red deck wins. Different flavor, though. This one looks like the more standard. I think last one was more red heroic than... Yes! Was more red heroic than red wins. Hey, remember how I was hoping for an untapped land? Get there! So there's Herald of the Pantheon. We'll pass. So now, even with our tap land, we can play Nyxweaver next turn, unless our Herald meets an untimely death. Opponent, don't you dare. Please? Okay, so let's see what they do here. They are stopped on their upkeep again. We're just going to go ahead and yield to end of turn, because we can't do anything about anything they do anyway. And if our opponent wants to lose to time with red deck, well, that's his prerogative. Okay. Here we go. Apologize if I go quiet for chunks of this video. I'm having to observe and think at the same time. And yep, there's the Searing Blood. So there's 3 damage to us. Frick. Alright. Only 1 damage from his creature though, so I suppose it could have been worse. And there's Farrakha, God of Affliction. Well, that might be spicy in this matchup. Anyway, we'll play Jungle Hollow, we'll gain a life. And that's all we got, mates. So, here comes the pain train. Really can't afford to miss tempo against a deck like this, but unfortunately, them's the breaks, we do. There's Monastery Swiftspear, giving his Founder Street Denizen a trigger. And here comes... And there comes a second Monastery Swiftspear for another trigger. I will always yield to that thing's trigger because nothing I can do about it anyway. Don't you... What on earth is this? Oh my god, if I can just get to Doomwake. Ugh. Okay, so there's 6 damage coming right at us. Ugh, so many 1-drops. Okay, well. There's the Sylvan Caryatid that we would have loved last turn. We'll go ahead and Jungle Hollow again. And I think the play here is the black-green colorless. I think we do just need to get Nyxweaver onto the battlefield. We need to get a blocker out there who can do something now. We'll work on getting Farrakha and Doomwake out, but... We gotta live long enough to do that. There's Hordling Outburst for a triple Foundry Street Denizen trigger, as well as a double Monastery Swift Spear trigger. Oh, Joy Rapture. So, it seems bad, but at least our opponent's now tapped out. Question is, are we dead? Yep, okay, so my opponent's having to put all those stacks on the trigger. That's a lot of dudes. If only I could play... If I top deck and untap land, I can play Doomwake and get back into this game. I'm going to do the block here that actually lets me eat a creature to try to get some control over this board. Oh, that hurt. Okay. Doomwake or bust. So at our upkeep step, we have to yield the top two... mill the top two cards, one of which would have been, but not the one we needed, so it didn't matter. None of that mattered. So, I think the play here is to concede. We couldn't do anything about that. So, we go to the board, and remember what we did last time? Silk Wraps, Rams in, Multicolor out, one Sigil out, Starfield out, and one Insight out. That's what we did last time, and it worked well enough. Let's try it again. Talking to one of my buddies on Messenger during the gap we were waiting. He's in another league, and he's been seeing nothing but red decks also. So, looks like it is definitely the budget option if you want to get in on Magic Online, which I encourage you to do. It is fun. It's a way to improve your play, and being able to go back, you can watch your decks, you can go back and watch replays of what you did, see everything that happened, and be like, I should have done something different there. It's a good way to improve your play. I encourage you also to talk into a microphone as you play and record yourself so you can hear your boneheaded justification of your decisions. And when I say you, I mean, me. Anyway, so our opponent's clearly taking their time in the sideboard here, deciding what they want. Unfortunately for them, they didn't get to see much of my deck, so they don't quite know what's coming. Well, I mean, they probably do. They know what I'm playing. They can guess. In that game, we did see the penalties that come from the fact that I'm playing, budget scry lands, and, by playing the gain lands instead of the scry lands, because the scry there would have helped us find that land we needed and land the Doomwake, which I do still think would have been far too much, far too little, far too late, but it would have been better than what happened. But no, I think at that point he'd gone so wide we couldn't have blocked him without a double Doomwake trigger, and there was no way that was happening. Okay, we would love to play first again. This one's a little land heavy, but it'll play, and it has Herald, it has Sylvan, which is even more important, so we'll keep. I actually think the Sylvan's the turn 2 play here more than the Herald, which means in order to do that, I think we're going to want to open with... Yeah, we're going to open with Sandstep. I thought about opening with the Temple for the Scry, but I think that would probably be better served on turn 3 once we have our Sylvan defense up and our Silk Wrap defense up. There's the Zergo Bell Striker, the 2-2, so it's a good thing that we have the 0-3 coming out next turn. Or I could always just, at end of turn, steal his dude with Silk Wrap. Go grab the Forest here. And in fact, no. We're going to go ahead and run out Sylvan here and yield till the turn. I thought about just going ahead and eating his creature, but next turn I can use Herald and then eat his creature, which will also give me a life. So I think that's just the sharper play here. Our opponent's threatening a combat trick. We need the mana from the Caryatid, so no blocks. We'll just take it here, see what he runs out after combat. Maybe he didn't have another creature. Well, that would be too much to hope. There's the Foundry Street Denizen. There's another Herald as well. So step 1 here. This is the turn where we play the Scry land. Get our Scry trigger on. We find a Doomwake who's staying right where he is on top of our library. We are then going to play green for Herald of the Pantheon. So now when we pay white, we get Silk Wrap, and I'm not worried about Zergo, but Foundry Street could get out of control very quickly. We're going to always yield to the ability from that. We're going to go ahead and Silk Wrap, and actually we are going to eat Foundry Street, because that thing can get even bigger, and Zergo, well, he's done all he can do. His shtick is done. I mean, maybe, okay, actually no, I have a Doomwake coming down next turn. Okay, I take it all back. That was stupid. Oh well. I can always just do it again next turn, because I have a feeling our Herald is not going to live, which means we can't Doomwake next turn anyway. So do I attack here? No, of course not. I want him to kill my Herald here, because I have another one, so I don't actually care. So let's see what he's got. He's got his third mountain. There's Wild Slash, so our creature dies, just like we knew it would. Sorry, I'm ticking my fingers on the desk there. Bad habit, I shouldn't do that. I try not to do that during videos. Okay, so there's the damage comes through. Fortunately, that was all he was able to do that turn, so it wasn't a great turn for him. So here comes the Jungle Hollow. Here comes the Herald. Here comes the Silk Wrap. Oh yeah. I hate how I have to yield to a different one of those every time. So there's Silk Wrap. It's stealing his only dude. Ha! Deal with it. Alright, that's all we got there. But we have managed to steal all his dudes, and we still have the stronger board state here. And next turn, hopefully he'll extend to a bunch of 1/1s here. Like a Goblin Outburst right now would be the most hilarious thing he could do. And then next turn we just cast Doomwake and start eating them. Apologize for my cat singing the Song of Her People in the background, but there's no stopping her sometimes. Cat, come here. Quit that. Looks like our opponent's in a bit of a pickle trying to figure out what they want to do here. Oh, he did the Hordling Outburst! Oh, that's beautiful. I almost want to just delay a turn so that I can also start getting angels. In fact, I do. Paloma. That's my cat's name, is Paloma. Paloma, Dad's recording. Shush. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and play that here and gain a life. And yield till end of turn. We're not going to attack. Maybe we can convince our opponent to overextend just a little further. Did I over-tap there? Yeah, oh yeah, I did because of Herald. Well, whatever. Mana burn's not a thing. Oh, crud. But that means I tapped my Sylvan when I didn't have to. Oh well, these things happen. I should be paying more attention rather than yelling at my cat. There's Goblin Heel Cutter, cast with Dash, so that it will... Okay. So he's tapped out here. And, oh yeah, so target creature can't block this turn. Right. Well, okay, fine. So he gets through, he hits me. So be it. We're actually in a good position to start recovering here. Yield till end of turn, save ourselves some time. And we just take some damage. It's not so bad. That was only 6 only. It's not so bad. So, our opponent's tapped out here. His creatures can return to his hand to end the turn. And on our draw, we get Doomwake number 2. Oh, I'm in Magical Christmas Land. Okay, so this time we're going to do it right. Doomwake comes down. We are going to put our Sigil on the stack. Always yield to Sigil. There's Doomwake. Whose ability goes on the stack, which we are going to always yield to, so we just wiped out his dudes. Oh yeah, feels good. And we have a 4/4 flying angel creature token, so he's going to have a hard time getting through that heel cutter next turn when we have multiple big fat blockers. And should something happen to our Doomwake, well, we've got an ace in the hole. There's our opponent finally finding their 4th land, although they tend to curve out at 3. And thanks to all that life we've been gaining off Herald, we're actually doing okay. Not great, but okay. This match could still certainly go our opponent's way if it's just nothing but burn spells straight to the dome for the rest of the game, but I'm not too worried about that. We're in a position to start closing this out very quickly. He may just have to hard cast the heel cutter to not die. Okay, he does nothing. Perhaps he's trying to bait me into overextending. Well, 2 can play that game, friendo. So I'm going to swing with the team here, since in my second main phase I'm going to play Starfield of Nyx in order to generate another angel. Although if I'd actually played that first, I would have had 1, 2, 3, 4. I would have had 5 enchantments, so I would have been able to swing for even more there. But maybe that's the right play, you know? Maybe I don't want to overextend that much. Okay, there's Stoke the Flames to kill my angel. Now the cat's dragging a bowl around. What is this? Come on. What kind of crackerjack operation is this I'm running here? Alright, so there's 6 damage to our opponent. And in the second main phase, we are going to play white, black, green, white, Starfield of Nyx. Go ahead and put our triggered abilities on the stack. Get ourselves another angel, gain a life, and put Starfield on the field. So now, that may have been a dumb move here, since now our Silk Wraps can be killed. But I'll take that chance. I'm not worried about him getting either of those creatures back now that I have, you know, Doom Wakes and Angels and stuff like that. Yeah, there was the concession. Should have done that main phase. I could have just turned everything sideways and won there, so that was a dumb move. And I think I'm actually going to take Starfield out for reasons we just saw and put my other Sigil back in. Just because I think against this sort of deck, if I get to the point where I turn that online, I'm probably already going to win. And the ability to kill the things I use to steal as creatures is just a liability. I don't see that working for me. So we're going to keep that. And we're going to go to game number 3. Which, like I said, we do poorly in game 1 against red decks. We do better in game 2. And game 3 is a toss-up. We'll see how it goes down. Hopefully we can eke out at least one. I think this might be my last match for tonight. We shall see. He says, hoping the match will spawn at that moment. I don't love all the silences in this one, but compared to duels, which goes at a pretty fast pace, comparatively, there is a lot of downtime in online, which is at least what I like about leagues. I can fire these games when I want them to, as opposed to having to wait half an hour for the last 2 people in the room to finish. I do like that. So, we find a no... well, it's not a no land, it's a 1 land. And it's an untapped land, but I cannot afford... that's actually a pretty good one, but I cannot afford to stumble against an aggressive deck like this. And this one is ever so much better anyway. We'll keep. So we open turn 1 with the Jungle Hollow, Plains turn 2 into Sylvan Caryatid, and then we just start banishing and wrapping and all that stuff. Silk wrapping, not spitting verse. I don't think I'd be very good at that. Okay, so there's the Swift Spear for the quick poke in for 1 damage on the first turn. Of course he does. And I pretend to care, but fact is I really don't, so yield to end of turn. There's the second land. Is he going to play another creature? Is he going to play a burn spell? Oh, crap. Okay, he knew what I was up to, so this is going to hurt him, but it's going to hurt me just as much. So I may actually spend my second turn to Silk Wrap and just get this thing off the field. Because every time I play a convert a mana cost 3 or less spell, it's going to do 2 damage to me. On the other hand, it would hurt him too. I just can't afford that in the meantime. So we're going to play Plains. And we're just going to Silk Wrap it. Yes, I know, I take the damage. So we're just going to go ahead and pay 2 life, essentially, to nip this in the bud right now. Just not even playing that particular game. And next turn, if he plays a spell to like give his monster a Swift Spear prowess, we can just eat it with Banishing Light, and we'll actually be pretty much back in this game, I think. And if he doesn't do anything or plays another creature, we might get the Caryatid out and get our Scry on. Just depends on what happens here. There's a second Swift Spear. So here's the Lightning Strike just straight to my face for the double prowess trigger. Yeah, okay, always yield into the triggers of your Swift Spears, buddy. I do not care. Or rather, I certainly do care, I just can't do anything about it, so let's just keep this short. Okay, so there's 4 more damage coming to my face right now. Ow. So our opponent clearly realizes that if we get to the mid-game, we're probably going to be okay. He can't let that happen. Which means that our play here is most certainly to get out the Sylvan Caryatid, so that we can block at least one of them next turn, chump if we have to. And I do like the fact we now have another Caryatid. So if something happens to this one, worst comes to worst, we can pull through. Our opponent has 3 cards in their hand. Hopefully one of them's like a 4th land or something, so eventually maybe they'll just run out of resources and we can quote-unquote starve the beast here. So that's basically all we can hope to do here, is survive as long as we can and then play the stuff when we have to. Okay, so we're choosing our blocker here. If he's got Titan Strength or something, he is going to walk right through it. Okay, there's a Lightning Bolt heading for the face again. So he's only a 2/3. He's still not getting through. And there's Wild Slash to my face, so now he is. So that's 5 damage to my face, 3 damage from the creature. We'll be at 2 life at the end of this turn. Ow. So, seems pretty bad for us. It looks grim. Courser Crucifix here is not what we were looking for. Let's dig for the... I don't even know what I'm digging for at this point. I don't know that I have an answer. That might work. Wish I had it right now. So here's the Banishing Light, targeting one of the Swift Spears, and we just have to hope he doesn't have a way to trigger its prowess ability or a way to give another creature haste next turn. So if he doesn't, we'll survive with 1. I don't love my chances here, but it's the only game in town from where I'm sitting. Here's the attack. Show me the spell. Nope. Okay, show me the spell. He didn't have anything. I mean, maybe he's just hoping to BM and kill me at upkeep. Kind of doubt it, but we can't rule it out. So here's me using Silk Wrap to get rid of the Swift Spear. Me and my 1 life. Here's me playing Sylvan Caryatid to have a blocker. And here's us for the entire rest of the game, hoping our opponent doesn't draw a burn spell until we find a way to gain some life. Which, let's face it, we are going to lose. We are dead. We are at the tender mercy of our opponent here. And there's the Goblin Heel Cutter. However, he cannot choose my Sylvan Caryatid to be unblockable this turn because of its own hexproof ability. So I do get to block this turn. I'm not dead. We are going to block. And that returns to his hand. Okay. Not dead yet. Like I say, I still don't see a way out, but we're not dead. There's another Silk Wrap, but I can't play that at instant speed to eat his dude. What I can do, however, is pay 1 life to kill myself. Alright, well played to my opponent once again. Red deck wins, beats us for the 2nd time. Alright, that's it for tonight. Alright, thanks guys for watching. This is Leagues. We'll be back with the next... We still have 3 to go, and we'll get there. As always, thanks for watching.